MVP campaign for Millie? Today, she brings her high-octane show to Boston, hoping to lead the Power to a much-needed win. But here to fight the Power, the 1-2 scoring punch of Meinert and Mellgren. We'll see who's able to deliver the knockout punch, New York or Boston, next. Great star power here in Boston tonight. There is Tiffeny Milbrett, the league's top scorer. Who's going to try to slow her down? Kate Sobrero for the Breakers, certainly up to the challenge. What about Nickerson Field on the other side of the ball for the Breakers? Can they get their offense on track as they welcome in the New York Power here tonight? As you take a look at the Terra Chip standings, it shows you how important this game is. These two teams desperately in need of 3 points. Half the season down, half to go. And you can argue there's a playoff atmosphere here tonight because these two teams desperately need a victory. Along with Ellen Weinberg here in Boston, I am Eric Freed. And maybe it is a little strong to say with half the season to go, Ellen, but this really is a must-win situation for both these teams.
Absolutely a must-win situation for both teams, Eric. For New York, it's about staying focused defensively for a full 90 minutes. For Boston, it's trying to create more opportunities offensively.
Well, most of those opportunities have been coming from Meinert and Mellgren. Aaron and Davey have been hooking up all season long.
Well, all you have to say is these two players have combined for 10 of the team's 14 goals. They are so dynamic. They're 1-2 give and goes as well as their up-back playmaking. New York knows they need to stop them if they're going to be successful tonight.
Boston's looking for scoring elsewhere. No one but Mellgren has scored over the last 6 games. The last goal scored by someone other than Mellgren was back on May 11th. Defensively for New York, it's been a big problem all season long, but you look tonight to who's in goal, and they're going to get a boost from Gao Hong.
Gao Hong, she's been out with a wrist injury. She had that in November. She is so tremendous. She was one of their big-time leaders last year in goal, 1.1 goals against last year, led the league in 6 shutouts. This will be a big emotional boost as well as a confidence boost for this team.
We'll see what happens. Always a smile on her face, and certainly happy to be back in the lineup for the first time this year. It's team photo day here in Boston, but you don't just pick up a picture. You're part of the picture. We'll kick it off here next.
Alen Hurley owns a Hyundai Elantra.
Freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage is standard equipment. By Venus from Gillette for Women, reveal the goddess in you. And by We, Women's Entertainment, the new cable network for women. Welcome back to Boston. You see the fans ready to brave the elements. Threat of rain here tonight has not started to rain yet, but it is in the area. Temperature right around 70 degrees as we get set to kick. Let's bring you the starting lineups. The Breakers starting lineup brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Take it away, Ellen.
Christine Lilly, one of the best technical and tactical midfielders in the world. She's so dynamic, so fun to watch.
The Optimum Online starting lineup for the New York Power, and familiar face back in the lineup for the Power.
And a good thing, she's a real leader back there. She missed the last 2 games with tendonitis in her knee, the bad knee that she had ACL reconstructive surgery on over the offseason, so this is a big plus for New York.
So it's good to see Christie Pearce back in the lineup, but we will not see Pat Farmer on the sidelines for the New York Power. He's serving a suspension. He is on the grounds, we could say, here tonight.
He is here somewhere, but he's not allowed to be part of the team. Oh, we see him. That's right. He said he had to be inside a box, nowhere where he could where he could accidentally yell a suggestion to one of his players.
He was ejected from the game last week, and he's serving a 1-game suspension this week. So Charlie DeSilly will work the sideline for the New York Power, and he has a lot of head coaching experience from his time back coaching the women at Rutgers.
11 years at Rutgers, led Rutgers to 9 postseason appearances. So they've been friends for a lot of years, coaching in the New England ranks collegiately.
Boston in the home blue, New York in their traveling white. Here is Nickerson Field, early touch, working against Pearce. Pearce coming off a sprained knee. She had surgery, and that had her on the sidelines at the start of the season. You see the acting head coach with the head coach about 150 feet or so behind him and up in the press box. Just an observer here today.
Another player that's not out here because of an injection being thrown out last week is Christie Walchel. She has played every minute for New York for 2 years, and she is out because she got a red card in like the 88th minute, which led to a penalty kick in the game-winning penalty kick last week against San Jose.
Katya delivering that penalty kick in a 4-3 victory for San Jose against New York. Chastain with 2 goals, Milbrett with 3 in that showdown. It was Brandy's team picking up the win. Now Milbrett flicks it back through. Here's an opportunity trying to find Sara Whalen. Cleared over the line, and a corner kick coming up. That's something that Boston in the first meeting with New York, a 2-1 victory for Jay Hoffman's team. They yielded a lot of corners in that first meeting.
12 corner kicks, which is almost an anomaly. It's unheard of in soccer, and you know, Jay said it doesn't matter. I'd rather give up a corner kick than a goal, and they defended well against him last time they played.
Karina LeBlanc gets ready in the goal. Lalor there bouncing around. LeBlanc booted it away, it looked like. And it was swept away by New York, so a goal kick coming up for Boston. Early opportunity.
And you know, Eric, the problem with giving up these corner kicks is their chances, and we just saw that there. Anytime you can get the ball in the box with a lot of people, it's dangerous.
Jenna Klugel. Klugel did good work in the first meeting this year between these two teams back on May 18th. In that victory, Tiffeny Milbrett was held without a shot. First time in her WUSA career that she was held without even a shot.
And what Jay Hoffman did in that first match is he matched Hucles up against Milbrett. He played 3 in the back, somewhat of a flat back, and then had Jenna really shadow and Mark Millie. He chose not to do it this time. The reason being is he felt it took him out of their shape too much.
Here is Milbrett. Ball spins back to her. She chips it forward. The net is wide open. Can she settle it? LeBlanc backtracking, gets that slow rolling ball. Anxious moments there in the early going as New York thumbs up for the Power so far.
Take a look at this. You can see it was a nicely played ball by Emily Janss. Somehow Millie was not offside. She gets to it first. LeBlanc had come out and she just couldn't recover with the ball and get it on net before Karina LeBlanc recovered back to the net.
And you saw the communication with Carrie Rager back there defensively, there to sweep it off the line if necessary, but LeBlanc called her off and was able to play it.
And that was one of the concerns for Boston, is Rager's playing in the back for the first time this year. She's back there because Heather Adamo.
Here's a chance now for Mellgren coming in. She shoots and scores!
How quickly the tides turn.
New York with 2 great opportunities in the opening 3 minutes. The first shot for Boston, the first look for Gao Hong this season, and it's a goal for Mellgren, and Dagny does it again.
And it was a misplay there by Christie Welchel. She's dribbling it out of the back, and it got too far in front of her. The ball's recovered and played up to Dagny, and Dagny just makes it look easy. She sees a Gao Hong to come out. She keeps her composure and just plays it right past her. Passes it right in the back of the net. That is experience. A front runner that's playing against one of the best keepers in the world. She sees she's come out and played the angle, and she just makes it look easy.
For Dagny Mellgren, her 7th goal of the season, leading the team in that category. She has now scored the Breakers' last 6 goals over a 7-game span. It's amazing. Meinert, the last one other than Mellgren to score a goal for Boston. Got to go way back to May 11th in the game against Carolina. Mellgren did not play in that game due to national team duty. The only game she's missed so far this year. When she's been out there this year, she's been very dangerous, and she proved that here in the early going, scoring in the 4th minute.
And with that goal, she also joins 4 other players at the top of goal scoring in the WUSA, one of them being Tiffeny Milbrett with 7 goals.
Here is Meinert. Meinert sending it out wide. Jen Klugel making a run. Working on Ormen. Crossing ball far post. And it's going to hit all the way over towards the corner flag. Goal kick coming up for New York. Let's watch it one more time as Mellgren gets number 7.
Take a look at this. You can see it was a misplay there by Christie Pearce, and Hucles does a good job, just taps it up to Dagny Mellgren, and Mellgren makes it look easy. She collects the ball and just puts it right past Gao Hong, and you can see Gao Hong clearly disappointed. When you haven't played in 8 months, you don't want your first shot to be a goal.
Madigan Gonzalez in the starting lineup for the Breakers. She sends it towards Mellgren, and Gao Hong comes out to play it. Gonzalez started the season on the back line for the Breakers, but getting a shot in the midfield here tonight.
And Jay Hoffman says the natural position he'd like to see her in is not on the outside midfield, but more as a defensive midfield position.
So Dagny does it again. That's unbelievable. I mean, she has done it against New York this year. She scored both goals in that victory May 18th. Scores here against New York in the 4th minute to open the scoring in what could be a high-scoring game. Both these teams have been known to put it in the net, and they've had some troubles defensively.
especially in New York, they have been giving up pretty much a bad goal a game.
Would that qualify? Would you put that in the bad goal category?
Well, it's a mistake, you know, and if you're going to give up a mistake and other teams capitalize, that's a bad goal in my eyes. And Christie Pearce should be able to move that ball and not dribble up the midfield and give up the ball there.
Here's what you were talking about, Ellen. New York last in the league when it comes up to giving goals. And Boston right there, but you see the disparity. Boston's there with scoring just 1.27 as they've struggled at times to put it in net, but they've had plenty of opportunities with this firepower they have. Lilly, Mellgren, and Meinert.
You know, Tiffeny Milbrett made a good comment to me prior to the game. She said, when you score 3 goals in a game, you hope that that would be enough to win. And they lost last week 4-3.
Here's Lilly sending it out to Mellgren, who has terrific speed. Bettina Wiegmann making a run into the area to help out. Now Wiegmann has it. Wiegmann turns, finds Meinert, gives it a go, knocked down by Christie Pearce. Corner kick coming up for Boston.
And you can tell that New York looks somewhat unorganized in the backfield. Look at this. They find Meinert all alone there. That's where Christie Welchel, who's not in the lineup, organizes this defense. They're going to have to settle things down back in the backfield for New York.
First corner kick for Boston here. 8-minute. Breakers already on top, 1-0. Christine Lilly ready to deliver. Here comes the captain. Going far post, Monica Gonzalez heads it down, knocked around, and another corner coming up. Last touch by Wynne McIntosh for New York.
It'll be interesting to see when they play these direct kicks as well as corner kicks if they look for Gonzalez. She's so tall and she's good in the air at 5'10".
Meinert will deliver from this side. Here she comes. Looking for Gonzalez. She tried to settle the volley but ran out of space and sent it off the side of the cage.
One of the things that Jay Hoffman said about Gonzalez and the reason that she's in the match is she reads the game so well. We saw that both times. They tried to target her. First time with her head, second time she comes through. You can see it here. She's reading the game well. She finds a way over Pearce to get a foot on it.
Monica Gonzalez should not be allowed to fly into space like that and get an opportunity, even though she ran out of space and did not pick up her first career goal.
No way, and you can see their team leader for New York, Christie Pearce. She was there. I don't know what she was marking. You don't mark space, you mark man.
Anita Rapp trying to move it upfield. Jenna Klugel sweeps it aside. Throw in New York. Klugel comes up to challenge. Lilly there to take it. Sends it in the middle field, trying to spring Mellgren again, and Mellgren flicked it forward, but nobody there. But white jerseys, Tammy Pearman settled it back to Gao Hong.
What a beautiful play by Christine Lilly. She doesn't even look. She knows where Mellgren's going to be, and she can just place that ball perfectly.
Well, look at Mellgren step right in front, and that's going to be a foul against New York and Wynne McIntosh.
One thing about New York is they play physical. See a lot of yellow cards. Wynne's one of those players that's physical in the back.
Wiegmann delivers it. McCann almost got her head on it. Gonzalez streaking it again, kept it right in. And Gonzalez and McCann putting on the pressure and forcing New York to clear it away for the throw-in.
That looked just like the German national team that we saw. We know where she learned that in her home country. This is how the German national team likes to play ball. Nice driven balls in. They're so dangerous in the box. But Christie McCann just couldn't get a piece of it. Nor could Gonzalez.
New York trying to clear it out. The Breakers gathered to watch the U.S.-Germany match yesterday, and of course with Meinert and Wiegmann, fixtures on the women's scene in Germany for many years, they were certainly rooting for their countrymen. Picked up the victory. There are a couple of side bets going around here with some team members, and I've seen a couple of German national team jerseys on the sideline, so.
When I saw Meinert, she approached me and I said, congratulations. She knew exactly what I was talking about, and we don't even know each other that well. Big smile. She got a little red in the face.
Throw in for Ronnie Fair.
Yeah, and Ronnie Fair's out of position. She's a player that's been playing a defensive midfield position, but with Welchel out of the lineup, they had to change things up, and that pushes her back to the outside back position. Not a position that head coach Pat Farmer would like to see her in.
Wiegmann hitting it through to Lilly, put on the brakes, hit by Fair, play on. Carrie Seitz, the referee tonight. Watching Anita Rapp send it out wide. Pearman. Tammy with a little space. Meinert comes on the challenge. New York will try to get something organized here. Offside flag is up. Milbrett a step ahead.
It's amazing. You ask every team what you have to do against New York, and they say you have to shut down Tiffeny Milbrett. People now know no matter how much you focus on her, she's still going to score.
Well, she did not in that meeting against Boston, but she had in the career, the 3 games played last year, scoring 5 goals, picking up 2 assists, including a hat trick, as she had dominated the Breakers as the Power picked up 3 wins and 3 tries. But that meeting in New York, on Long Island rather, a couple weeks ago, a little bit of a different result as far as the Breakers were concerned.
That's why I thought it was really interesting that they were successful stopping Lilly and containing her. However, head coach Jay Hoffman chose not to mark her again. And you know, I talked to Meinert and she said, we were not the better team that game, but we won. Today we want to be the better team and win.
Here is Meinert, feeding it through to Wiegmann. Tried to touch it back to Mellgren and or Lilly. Instead, Gonzalez goes wide, but she can't get there. And a throw-in coming up for New York. The Breakers are back in action next Saturday when Brandi Chastain and the defending WUSA champion San Jose Cyber Rays come to town. Tickets are still on sale, so call 1-866-GO-BREAKERS to reserve your seats today. Come early and get a free Maytag team autograph card that you'll be able to use after the game in the Maytag autograph alley. Hucles from Meinert. Now Wiegmann. Wiegmann trying to send it through to Mellgren. Had Lilly there as well, but broken up nicely by the Power as they try to spring it forward to Milbrett, who got a toe on it. Now Milbrett and Sobrero go to work, and Kate comes up to take it away. Wiegmann. Some space for Gonzalez. Here's Monica.
Wide! Christie!
Throw-in comes to Lilly. Back for Rager. Now Angela Hucles. Hucles chipping it forward as Lilly tried to get in behind Christie Pearce, but Pearce, a solid defender back there to knock it away. Throw-in New York.
Pearman's really come along as a defensive player for New York this year. She's always been a front runner. They moved her back there. She struggled early on, but now she's done a great job and learned how to play 1v1 defense.
Here's Lilly. Can't handle it. New York will throw it. Sara Whalen. Backtracking Emily Janss.
One of the things I see about New York right now is they're so tight. They like to play a passing, controlled type of game, but this field is more narrow than what
Well, we're back here in Boston. Obviously, we have some technical difficulties, and our hard-working crew here trying to pull it all back together. While we went away, Tiffeny Milbrett scored for New York to tie this game up at 1-1. So we appreciate your patience and bearing with us as we try to work out these considerable glitches. It's 1-1 here at Nickerson Field in Boston after Tiffeny Milbrett scored her 8th goal of the season.
Tiffeny Milbrett now takes the lead in the WUSA with 8 goals. They knew she was dangerous. It'll be interesting to see if they change the way that they're going to cover her.
Throw in for the Power. Ironically enough, I've been told we lost Power and the New York Power's in town, so there's got to be some kind of tie in there. I have no idea. idea.
And the New York Power scored while we were out. Maybe it was some kind of, you know.
Yeah, there's got to be some conspiracy here. During our power outage, the Power didn't have a power outage. 1-1 here. Now out wide, Sara Whalen making a run with a little bit of space. Carrie Rager coming back to close ranks. Sent towards Corinna LeBlanc and picked up easily. Meinert. Mellgren. Bump McIntosh off the ball. They play on Gonzalez for Christine Lilly. Lilly with space, sends it out wide. Meinert. Meinert now turns to settle. Finds Gonzalez, who's been active in this game, but couldn't set up the shot.
Good defense there by Emily Janss getting back. They're playing with 5 midfielders. That should allow more players to get back and keep a better defensive shape for this New York team. And only one player up top.
Christie McCann sends it back, picked up by Whalen.
Very nice, Sara.
Whalen for Fair. Ronnie Fair sends it through. Anita Rapp. Ormen and Rapp go to work. Now back for Fair. Some of the best possession of the match so far for New York, but it's broken up by Rager. Only for the moment, back to Pearce. Pearman out wide, not a good delivery there, and a throw it now for Boston.
That's where Pearman struggles. It's her first touch. If she tries to make a one-touch pass there, it's not always accurate.
Looking for Tiffeny Milbrett. And picked up by Corinna LeBlanc. So if you're just joining us, Mellgren scores in the 4th minute, Milbrett in the 15th minute. We're slowly getting back up to speed here with our technical problems. You see we have the score at the top of your screen back.
The interesting thing is New York had the real momentum at the start, and Boston came down and scored. Then when Boston had the momentum, what happened? New York didn't have any opportunities, and they come down and score on kind of a fluky play.
Well, in many ways, that will sum up the season to date for both these squads, as they've had stretches of playing really good soccer, only to have 5-minute mental lapses, and several times it's cost these two teams games.
Absolutely, no doubt on that, Eric, and I know it's frustrating for both teams as well as coaches.
Meinert soft ball. Gao Hong is there to reach out as Christie McCann headed it towards the far post.
And you know, Gao hasn't even been tested. We haven't seen her have to make any shots to see how she is physically. The first shot was a goal, and look at this. She reads. She has great reaction. She's not that tall, but she really has a good vertical. But that was an easy save for Gao Hong.
Now Boston again. Mellgren. Pearman going back for it. She can't keep it in play. Corner kick coming up for Boston. Well, Gao will now try to set things up on this Boston set piece. She'll get her position. Very gregarious fixture internationally for a decade. Picked up 9 wins a season ago, making her 2002 debut after wrist surgery today. Now she's being tested right at the 6-yard box. Gonzalez got in there again, and another corner kick as it was deflected out of play by New York.
Once again, it's Gonzalez in the mix, and that's why he has her in there. She reads the game well. She's physical. Look at this. She finds a way to find the ball. Tammy Pearce on her. First it goes over. She gets a head on it. It goes off of Rapp, and she tries to get another piece of it, but Pearman does a good job denying.
Bouncing it around again. Meinert, what a goal! She flicked it in! Who needs a toe when a heel or a sole of the foot will do? 2-1 Boston.
The unique thing about the WUSA is we have seen a lot of goals when we don't normally see a lot of goals in soccer. However, that has to be one of the prettiest goals I've seen. You can see it comes in, and it goes off the hand of Wynne McIntosh, and Gonzalez, opportunistic, she sends it over, and it's behind Meinert. You can see it's behind Meinert there, but she's so smart, she just heels it in, and I think it catches Gao Hong off her mark.
Well, you can't blame Gao, because who would expect a delivery like that? Meinert down as play resumes. For Marin, it's her 5th goal of the season. She's right there with Mellgren, and once again, Mellgren, Meinert, Mellgren, but a little bit of a difference as Mellgren had scored the last 6 goals over the last 7 games for Boston, but now someone else scores. Meinert, her first goal since May the 11th, and it's 2-1 Boston.
And one of the difference makers on that goal was Gonzalez again, getting to the ball and getting the ball back into play for Meinert to be able to tap it into the back of the net. But boy, what a heads-up play for someone to be able to use the back of her heel like that.
Well, Gonzalez has been very active, and Meinert and Mellgren taking advantage of scoring. Jay Hoffman is with us, the head coach for the Breakers, and, well, it was a pretty goal from our point of view, but Marin's been doing that for years and years, Jay. Well, our glitches continue, and we'll get to Coach Hoffman in a minute. Meanwhile, New York trying to counter back. Well, we're back here in Boston, and obviously our technical problems continue, and we're trying to get it all figured out, but it's been a little bit of a problem so far. Nothing. We didn't miss a goal this time, did we? No, it's 2-1. Boston's still on top. And again, we apologize. Lilly trying to send it to Hucles. Hucles knocked away, throw in Boston. Gonzalez back for Boston. She's been a factor in this game. She's been the target for the Breakers, and New York's had trouble finding her and marking her. Now Monica, the rookie, goes wide again, trying to make a nifty little move, and Pearman touched it last. No. Last touch by Boston. Goal kick coming up for New York.
One of the things, Eric, that we both heard Boston say they needed to do is get more players into the attack. But not only get those outside midfielders and outside backs into the attack, but utilize them. They're doing a good job at that. We've seen Jenna Hucles up. We've seen Monica Gonzalez up. So far, they're doing what they wanted to do in their game plan.
Here's Kate Sobrero for Boston. Back for Hucles. Hucles keeps it on the ground. Meinert flips it to Wiegmann. Wiegmann tries to send it right to Mellgren. They couldn't connect, but it was close. Now Hucles out wide. Lilly left alone. Fair closes. Here's Christine. Taken away by Fair. Good defensive play there. Gonzalez steps up. Sends it to Meinert. Meinert tries to curl it towards Hucles. Pearce lets it go to Gauhong. And Angela Hucles was right there, inches away.
Boy, what a beautiful played ball there by Meinert. World-class ball when you try to bend a ball in like that, seeing your player break through past the defense.
McCann. Pearce, throw it now for Boston. Fifth meeting all time between these two squads. Power leading the series 3-1. Second of 3 meetings this year. New York will return here to Boston in August. With a win here tonight, Boston could clinch the season series against the Power. The second game today, earlier today, Carolina beating Washington, so the Courage getting back on track after losing their first place showdown with Philly on Wednesday. Carolina now 4-0-2 on the road as they cool off Washington, which had gone unbeaten in 4 games. Now Meinert trying to set it up again. Fair there to knock her away. And New York comes away. Now Ronnie. Gonzalez for Boston. Back to Sobrero, giving time to survey. Wiegmann lets it go. Fair there to grab it for New York. Ormen touches, but it's the Hucles. Now Jenna Klugel. Wiegmann can't reach it. McIntosh sweeps it aside. Now Kate Sobrero. 2-1 Boston, first half. Meinert with the second Boston goal. She'll take it herself. Comes in one-on-one on Christie Pearce. Meinert, top of the area, turns, shoots, score! Another world-class goal from Meinert. It's 3-1 Boston.
She made a play that is so difficult. Look routine for her. She drives with the ball. She's so smart. Look how Christie Pearce defends, though. She gets her turn, and she actually has her back to Meinert at the top of the box. You can see it here. She's so crafty. She cuts on the ball, and Christie Pearce has her back turned the wrong way, and then Meinert cuts back the other way and just places that ball perfectly right off the inside post, right behind Gao Hong.
For Meinert, her second goal of the night, and Boston has a 3-1 lead here in the first half, 28th minute, the goal coming in the 27th minute.
In my eyes, what makes a world-class front runner is someone that can be just as fast on the ball as off the ball, like we just saw Meinert. She's so quick on the ball. Her first reaction is take the ball and go, and then she cuts so well and just makes it look easy.
Well, the M&M girls have done it again. They have all 3 goals here tonight, Mellgren and Meinert. They've accounted for 13 of the 17 Boston goals this season. Boston is finishing here tonight. That one off the post and in for Meinert, second of the night, and 6th on the season. Meinert is fouled. She's been dangerous here tonight, and New York's going to do whatever they can to take her off her game. Now, right after that goal, New York huddled up just outside the area, brought the team together, trying to stop things right here, but it certainly is getting away from the power right now. It's a 3-1 lead for Boston.
And a concern has to be when your top player and your leader in the back, Christie Pearce, is getting beat defensively one-on-one like she has been all game long. You wonder if she's 100% or not.
Milbrett comes flying in to head it away. Janss.
Don't let her serve, Lil. Good. No, Monica.
Pearman looking for Milbrett. Nothing there. Comes all the way through to Meinert. Touches it to Lilly. Knocked off the ball by Janss. Play on. Janss now trying to spring Milbrett. Headed back by McCann.
I asked Meinert prior to the game where her favorite place to have the ball is. She said top of the box. If I can shoot from the top of the box, things are good. Well, she's smiling right now.
Sure. Here is the Sovereign Bank scoring summary. Mellgren, Milbrett, Meinert. If your name doesn't begin with M, you're out of luck tonight.
Hence the M&M comment that you made.
Yeah, well, that's been the story all season long for Boston. It's working tonight as they have a 2-goal lead.
Get that center! I wear frocks.
New York will restart it. Down by 2. And now, does the pressure increase on the league's top scorer to try to deliver her second goal of the night? She just has to play her game. That's been her mantra all season long. Oh, here she is. Ball bouncing around in the area, and Milbrett turned but fired it right at LeBlanc.
The interesting thing is they're playing in a 4-5-1. So when you're down and you're down by 2, as early as the game as it is, it's in the first half still, you have to wonder, they haven't created a lot of opportunities except for when they have those direct balls and those loose balls in the box. They need to get people more forward to help Millie. She can't do it all alone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking for yes or no, so that's good. Throw in for New York.
She's the type of player, though. She doesn't mind it. Bring it on, bring it on. That's her attitude, and you see it. She'll take it all on her shoulders.
It'll be interesting to see if the game plan changes for Boston. Still a lot of time left in this game, but certainly one of the game keys for Jay Hoffman was to deny service to Milbrett. So they'll try to keep that up defensively for Boston. New York is going to have to try to gamble a little bit here.
And if you're Jay Hoffman, you like your shape, so why change it? You're possessing the ball. Or you go into a 3-back and mark Hucles on Millie.
Here's Janss. Janss trying to find Milbrett. You see two blue jerseys there right away, McCann and Rager. Now Mellgren trying to move around Pearce. Great speed right there in that Pearce-Mellgren matchup. Two of the fastest players in the league, even though Christie Pearce is playing on a leg and a half right about now after missing the last 2 games with a sprained knee and coming back from knee surgery.
And in fairness to Pearce, this is a new position for her. She's known as an outside back. She's learning to play in the central back position.
Move together, you guys!
Rapp plays it back. Sent far side, but out of play, out of the reach of Sara Whalen.
And that's one player that's been quiet for New York. If they're going to have any success here, she needs to step up her game, get more into the mix, and bring some tempo to this white New York team.
Boston will restart here in a 3-1 game at Nickerson Field in Boston. Bettina Wiegmann will deliver. 1 goal for Dagny Mellgren, 2 for Meinert. Tiffeny Milbrett, league leader coming in, gets another goal. Hucles gambles to step up on Linda Ormen. Wiegmann there to help out.
Boy, what a nice turnaround play on the ball.
Look at the work here, Mellgren and Lilly. Mellgren trying to chip it forward, looking for Meinert. Anita Rapp sweeps it back out to Milbrett.
Good, Curry, tuck in a little more.
Now Wiegmann. Wiegmann for Mellgren. Mellgren has Hucles wide. Mellgren gives it a go off the crossbar.
Wow, what looked to be a seamless, easy play there. Not a dangerous play. Look what Mellgren does with it. She's all alone. She's not afraid to shoot from there. She lets it rip and it just hits the post. That would have been in.
Mellgren showing her range just off the mark. And she's testing Gauhan, who hasn't been in game action since last year.
She strikes such a beautiful ball. Not a lot of power behind it. She wasn't moving. It was a set ball there, and she just can really strike it from far out.
Give us the ball back.
Now Gonzalez.
Keep that flag up.
Janss. Rager sweeps it away. Throw in for New York. Down 2 here in the 34th minute. Pearman sending it back. Rager.
Can you hear Jay? Hear his voice talking to the linesman there a little bit?
Working, well, working the 4th official. If there's an official inside, the coach will work that official.
Clearly not happy. But look at this skill. Wow, Hucles does a good job. And look at the skill by Wiegmann. Wow, not 1 but 2. Nice spin around. She has her head up and then she beats another player, Emily Janss, and just makes it look easy. She is one of the most skilled midfielders in the world.
Fair sends it back, looking for Tiffeny Milbrett. And Gonzalez whistled for the foul. On the quick restart. Here's Milbrett working on Gonzalez. Turns into the area. Tried to set it up. Sobrero knocked it down. And cleared over the line. Goal kick coming up for the Breakers. Kids, have you ever wished you could be a soccer commentator like us? Now you can. Stop in any Long Island CBS store and enter to win a chance to be a colored commentator live on MSG at the July 20th New York Power Game. A lot to talk about in this one. 4 goals already. Still 10 minutes plus left to go in the first half.
You called it, Eric. You said after the first goal, you said it could be a high-scoring game. Did you mean 4 goals in 1 half?
I'd be lying if I said I did, but when Boston last played here against Carolina a couple weeks ago, their last home game, there are 4 goals combined in that game over the span of 90 minutes. Very entertaining game, well played. Here's Lilly. Lilly with options. Sends it back for Wiegmann. For Meinert. Threads it through, looking for Wiegmann. Swept away by McIntosh. Sara Whalen turned to try to grab it. Kept it in, but stopped by Rager. Now Mellgren for Gonzalez. Challenged by Janss. Throw in Boston.
Help her out here. Come on now. Come on.
Janss and Gonzalez with a hard collision.
Talk about a mismatch. Gonzalez is 5'10". Emily Janss is all of 5'2". But she plays big and she plays tough. Look at this collision. She has her eye on the ball. She's going one direction. Doesn't see Gonzalez. Up comes Emily Janss. She is one tough cookie out of the University of Maryland.
book on Monica Gonzalez is that she's good in the air, but obviously she's good with dropping the shoulder, too. Emily Janss fell down. Now a foul against New York. Boston takes over, and Gonzalez will run after it. Stops, leaves it for Hucles. Now Klugel. Here's Jenna from Meinert. Meinert tried to thread it through the legs of Rapp. Picked up by Fair. Hucles coming back defensively to knock it down. Sobrero taken away by New York. Lalor. Fair. McIntosh keeps it on the ground. Can't find Rapp. Gonzalez steps up. Sent back by Pearce. Now Gonzalez battles against Rapp. Picked up by Lilly.
Take your time. See what you got.
Rager does take her time, and she's got Hucles. Hucles setting it through out of Meinert's reach. Ball heading for the touchline, kept in by Ormen. McIntosh can't get rid of it. Hucles has it for Gonzalez. Janss gives her a little push. Now Rager. Pearman steps up for New York. And she'll streak back the other way with Lilly giving chase. Good hard play by the veteran Lilly. Frustrating Pearman, but Tammy didn't break and found Janss. Now trying to thread it through to Milbrett. Again, two blue jerseys there. Those players converge on Milbrett. Rapp chips it up, high ball. Backtracking is LeBlanc, and she has it.
That's kind of a wasted play. New York worked so hard to get down the field. LeBlanc was in her net. Why try to go up from there when Millie's in the box, Whalen's in the box, Lalor's in the box?
Hucles. Sobrero. Wiegmann. Fair. Settled by Milbrett. Millie goes to work on Hucles. National team teammates. Milbrett all the way in. Saved initially, but the rebound is sent in by Emily Janss, and New York gets one back. It's 3-2 Boston.
Huge goal there by Emily Janss, and she has been opportunistic all season long. Take a look at this. Millie says, I'm going to take things in my own hands. She beats Jenna Klugel clearly wide. She looks for the shot there. You can see LeBlanc gets a piece of it. Here you go again. She beats her wide. She says, do I shoot or do I sit it? That's a shot, folks. LeBlanc makes a nice save, but Emily Janss is right where she needs to be. Nice and composed, and just taps it in the back of the net. Her fourth goal of the season.
The book on Emily, she's a smart player. Not the fastest in the world, not the strongest in the world, but she does smart things, and she was in the right place at the right time, scooped up that rebound, knocked it in for goal number 4. She scored 1 all of last year, and it's 3-2. But quickly, Boston tries to counterattack. Wiegmann had Mellgren coming in. I don't know if she knew she was there. Hucles tries to knock it down. Last touch by Boston, throw in New York.
They call Emily Janss a slasher, and it's because she's so small, but she's so feisty, and she finds a way to just get to those loose balls. Yes.
Meant in a nice way. Well, the slasher slashes the deficit down to 1. Now Mellgren, step ahead of Lalor. Dogny just hit the crossbar a few moments ago. Boston came back, rather New York came back to make it a 3-2 game. Now a corner kick for the Breakers here as we played 40 minutes in the first half.
And emotionally, late in the first half, that is a huge goal for New York. They are back in this one.
Here comes the corner. Meinert, low ball, knocked away by Fair, and they'll try it again. Here's Rager. Rager into the area. Whalen tries to head it away. Lilly battling for Boston. Gonzalez comes flying in, and she's whistled for a foul. Hucles, Lilly. Meinert waits for it, has it. Meinert has Wiegmann entering the play. Bettina tried to make the move around fair. New York takes it back. Here's Hucles. Mellgren. Wiegmann. Hucles steps up. Sends it to Meinert. Meinert trying to find Hucles again, but Pearce there to knock it away. Ormen swept it away, got up to take it. Now Lalor.
Okay.
Mellgren for Meinert. Meinert has two. Here she comes. Sends it into the area. Lilly comes flying in to try to redirect it and just missed the mark.
I'll be interested to take another look at this because I think Tammy Pearman did a wonderful job getting back, and she actually got a piece of it, and that's Lilly, what she's crying about here. You can see it. The ball comes in, beautifully played, and Lily's coming through with speed. But no, Tammy Pearman using her speed. Maybe this is a better angle. You can see Lilly tries to redirect it, and it clearly goes off the shin pads of Tammy Pearman, who's breaking back, and that should have been a corner kick.
Instead, it's a goal kick for New York. 43rd minute, 3-2 game. First half here in Boston. Wiegmann, quick restart. Lilly. Lilly out wide, Meinert. Meinert chips it into the box. Here's Wiegmann. Does she have enough speed to get there? No.
Well, head coach Pat Farmer may not be on the bench, but he's still prepared his team this week. He told me prior to the game, 3 big keys. One was to trap Mellgren and Meinert. They have not been successful. I'm sure they're going to try to rehash things at halftime. The second thing was get a quick start. They did not accomplish that one. And the third was to get people forward and not just rely on Millie. I would say they have not done a good job at that either this first half.
But he cannot go in and give a halftime pep talk here in this game. He can't have any contact with the team here tonight.
No, but knowing Pat Farmer, Charlie Tassili, they are on the same page, and they are going to talk about those 3 keys here.
Whalen tries to send it in, knocked down by Gonzalez. Whalen makes a nifty move to get free. Here's another one. Milbrett on the doorstep. Flag is up, though.
You know, I made mention that Sara Whalen has to get involved in the play for them to be successful. When Sara Whalen is involved in the offense and utilizes her speed to come up with balls there and get the ball forward right in the box to Millie, they are dangerous. That one was off. Was it offside? Did they call it offside?
Flag was up. Boston already has matched its high total for goals in a game. They scored 3 times against Atlanta here in their home opener. They've got 3 here tonight. And we're approaching the final minute of half number 1. Now Whalen running it through Janss, who got the second goal. LeBlanc comes flying out to grab it.
The interesting thing that I've really seen the second half of this first half is the tempo. It seems so fast. These 2 teams can't continue to play at this high pressure, high tempo for another full 45 minutes. Something has to give.
Second ball, come on, let's go forward.
Waiting for the indication on stoppage time. Meanwhile, Wiegmann finds Mellgren, knocked away, heading towards the corner flag, and just short of it. So it's going to be a throw-in for Boston. 1 minute being added here to the first half.
And New York defensively is saying good. Boston, they have looked solid offensively getting in the attack.
Gonzalez looking forward again. New York sending it wide. Rager steps up, trying to feed it to Gonzalez. We are in stoppage time here at Nickerson Field in Boston. 3-2 Boston lead over New York. Final seconds of the first half. Now Lilly. Lilly turns into the area, finds some space, turns and fires! Just missed the mark.
Take a look at this. This is what makes Christine Lilly one of the most dynamic midfielders in the world. She's so smart on the ball. Technically, look at that. She frees herself in the box and she just doesn't put it away.
Christine's been close tonight. 2 goals on the season. Her last goal came back on May 4th against Philadelphia. So it's been quite a drought for the captain. But she's been close here tonight. LeBlanc will just walk it out, waiting for the final whistle. from Carey Seitz. And there it is. An exciting first half here at Nickerson Field. You saw what was coming up at halftime. We will hear from Tiffeny Milbrett as Dagny Mellgren, Meinert score for Boston. Milbrett and Janss score for New York as Boston with a 3-2 lead here as they head off to the locker rooms at halftime.
Well, we talked about New York and what their concerns are. They have to find a way to contain Mellgren and Meinert. For Boston, on the other hand, I think they did a great job getting into the attack, but they have to settle down defensively and sort things out. They need to make sure they somehow don't let Millie beat them in a one-on-one situation.
So far, the rain has held off here in Boston, but it's been raining goals. 5 combined in the first half as Boston and New York battle. And we're joined now by the Breakers' Jenna Klugel. Well, a wide open, fast tempo game, Jenna. Do you as a defender like this kind of game?
Yeah, I mean, this game's been great so far. We've been able to get the ball wide. We've spread them out offensively and trying to condense them defensively. But yeah, it's been a lot of running for both teams.
Jenna, you told me prior to the game it was really important for you personally to get into the attack, but not only to get into the attack, but for your front runners to utilize you. Do you feel like they're doing that?
Definitely. I think we've done a great job on both sides of the field today.
Thank you, Jenna Klugel, for your time as Boston 3-2 lead here at halftime in an entertaining first half. We expect more of the same in the second half, but first we have halftime to get to. We'll talk to Tiffeny Milbrett when we come back.
Introducing McDonald's new grilled chicken flatbread sandwich. Warm flatbread and grilled chicken melted all together with pepper jack cheese. It's the newest sensation.
Before a select ball leaves the factory, it must pass an inspection like no other in the world for flight trajectory, surface abrasion, stitch resiliency, and a perfectly consistent bounce. Some balls, however, are chosen by Chief Inspector Anna Lenkoven for a more extreme set of tests. Her procedures are somewhat confidential.
From the runways to the racks to stepping out, Metro TV has the inside on what's hip, what's hot, and where you can get it. The trendsetters.
This is for a small bird. I want to be a big bird.
And the style makers.
We're such clothing addicts.
Yeah. From the fashion capital of the world, Metro TV brings 7th Avenue to your living room. Metro TV. Turn on New York.
What do women really want? Oh, the usual things. Jewelry, moisturizers, bags. If you're a woman with a passion to play, then call now. Your magazine has arrived. Sports Illustrated Women. Tone up and fuel up. Cool styles and great gear. And now a special offer. Call now for a free preview issue. Absolutely risk-free. Get Sports Illustrated Women. Live it.
This week on MSG, the Amazons keep rocking away at Shea as Piazza in New York turn up the heat against Chipper, Shet, and the rest of the first-place Braves, Tuesday and Wednesday at 7. After the game, MSG Sports Desk, presented by Toyota, delivers complete coverage from the entire day in sports. Then it's Angles at 11.
Let's face it, South Korea deserves to win. That was a horrible call.
The Mets battle Atlanta at 7, followed by Sports Desk and Angles, Tuesday and Wednesday night on MSG Network. This is our town.
This game is brought to you by TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx, you should go. Quick Goal, the official goal and field equipment supplier of the WUSA. By Sovereign Bank, the official bank of the Boston Breakers. And by WE, Women's Entertainment, the new cable network for women. Welcome back. Halftime here at Nickerson Field. Boston and New York meeting here on a Saturday evening. Joined now by Tiffeny Milbrett, who scored a hat trick last week. And if somebody told you, Tiffeny, that you'd score a hat trick and lose, you'd probably laugh. But things are so frustrating that maybe in some ways you want to cry. This team just needs things to turn around a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you think that your team scores 3 goals and that's enough. But what we've got to do is we've played well. We played well for 90 minutes, you know, in a good part of the games this season. And we need to just put it all together.
Has this team stayed tight through all these downtimes?
Absolutely. I'm actually pretty amazed at how well our team has stayed together despite all that we've gone through. A lot of chaos and, you know, new players in every position, every game, and coming out, you know, last place in the league. It's not easy being there, but we've done well and we've stayed together.
You are the reigning league MVP, and you're obviously putting up those kind of numbers again. What has been different for you over these past almost 24 months now, where you've really had a great breakthrough here and seem to have a lot of confidence?
I just think that we've plugged away. You know, I think what you got to do is you can't get your head down. There's frustrating times, and we've definitely seen that this season as a New York Power. And we've done well. We've done well at times, and that's what you've got to focus on, and that's what I have focused on. And I've just kept plugging away, and our team has, and hopefully we can start getting some results.
And personally, when you look outside of what you're doing in the league and with the Power, you look towards World Cup next year and a chance to do that again.
Well, absolutely, especially with, you know, having World Cup fever within this last month and how the men had done so well. You know, you look forward to, definitely looking forward to putting back on the USA jersey and getting back out there with Team USA.
Well, good luck to you. Healthy trip here the next few months here leading up to 2003.
Great.
It's Tiffeny Milbrett from the New York Power. We'll be back with more here. Take a look back at last week's game, including that hat trick, coming up after this.
Hey, the New York Power's psyched about this season, spending time with our fans and showing the world how soccer's really played.
They have this thing called the Power Zone, where you can play games, listen to cool music, and win stuff.
I stayed after every game last season, and I got all the players' autographs.
Come out and cheer the Power to a championship. We'll be there, will you?
I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your
Only Venus from Gillette gives you smoothness that makes you feel like a goddess. Each shower-safe refill has soft cushions that surround 3 blades for the closest shave ever in just 1 stroke. So close, your skin stays smoother, longer, which all goddesses deserve. Venus, reveal the goddess in you. Now indulge yourself with new Satin Care Shave Gel from Gillette.
What sets Daytech apart from other online brokers? Free online trading tools. Daytech gives you free real-time streaming quotes. And you can track stocks with free real-time streaming charts.
Real-time and free? I like that.
Searching for stocks that fit your trading strategy? Use the free real-time stock screener. Check valuable S&P research.
Free access to research. That helps.
And you can also get free streaming news from Dow Jones. Unlike other brokers, all online equity orders are just $9.99. And only Daytech guarantees that if your marketable order is not executed within 60 seconds, the commission's waived.
Open and fund your account today and get 10 free online equity trades. Call toll-free 1-877-410-4330 or visit this special website.
Free trading tools, just part of the Daytech difference.
Daytech, built to trade.
Halftime here in Boston, a break for Boston and New York, but not for us as we look back at last weekend's action in the WUSA. First stop, San Jose. Fans out there treated to a thriller as the Cyber Race hosted the Power. 88th minute, tied at 3, Brandy Chastain taken down in the box by New York's Christie, who was sent off with a red card. Katya comes on for the penalty kick. You know what she does. Scores goals. 4-3 the final. The Cyber Rays extend their unbeaten streak to 5 straight games. On to Philadelphia, Villanova Stadium, where the Charge are taking on the Breakers. 5th minute, early on, the Charge's Erica Iverson sends the long ball deep into the Boston area where Marinette Pichon, very speedy, she collected it and beat Corinna LeBlanc for her 5th goal of the season. The 1 goal was all Philly needed. Boston had some chances, but fell by a final of 1-0. At Herndon Stadium in Atlanta, the hometown beat looking to extend its 5-game unbeaten streak. 58th minute, Carolina's Unilen collects the loose ball in the box, strikes a rocket top shelf for the game winner. It was her 2nd of the season. The Beats' unbeaten streak was over. Carolina won again, 3-1 the final. The Freedom playing host to San Diego in Washington. 26th minute, Chinese international Pu Wei sends a corner kick into the box. Rookie forward Ambi Wabak, she does it again. Abby is red hot this season. 2 goals and an assist on the night as Washington roll past the Spirit 4-0. More from Boston after this.
My name is Linda. I smoked for 21 years, and I'm dying of emphysema. The tobacco company says smoking is an adult choice. Today I'm dying because of a choice I made when I was 16. I'm losing the strength to fight for myself and to be with my loved ones. I'm not going to get better. I'm going to die.
Introducing McDonald's new grilled chicken flatbread sandwich. Hey, Stitch, get your own commercial.
Oh, okay.
Head to McDonald's and share in the magic and fun of Disney's newest full-length animated feature film, Lilo and Stitch. And pick up our cool new Surf Bobbler Happy Meal toys.
Oh, there's one in every family.
Hey, Mets fans, the season's in full swing, so stay on top of your game with Geico Mets on Deck. Get up-to-the-minute game info and player interviews with in-depth coverage of the Amazons from behind the scenes and inside the clubhouse.
Hardest game to win, 1-0 on the road. And he was excellent.
Plus features, stats, and analysis. Watch Geico Mets on Deck for the full pregame scoop 30 minutes before the game on MSG Network. This is our town.
Here's what I know. You can tell a lot about a girl after the first kiss, but you can never know a girl completely. Fear of commitment is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Moving in together is about a lot more than finding the perfect apartment. Buying an engagement ring is about a lot more than picking out a diamond. Mistakes are like relationships. Painful at times, but they always teach you something. And if you're going to take that leap of faith, leave your mind open and your parachute on the ground.
Future breaker, possibly. 3-2 Boston here at halftime. Entertaining first half. Let's take a look at the energy. Halftime highlights. 5 goals total in half number 1.
And beautiful goals at this. You can see it was a mid-play by Pearce, and the ball comes up by Hucles to Mellgren, and she just puts it past Gal Hong. She makes it look easy. Then a corner kick by Lilly, and Gonzalez keeps it in play, puts it toward the net, and Meinert with a back heel. Wow, that was unbelievable. It's Meinert again. She beats Pearce, and just puts it off the inside post. New York answered. They had an early goal, then a second goal off a nice cross by Millie. A nice first save by LeBlanc. An opportunistic play by Emily Janss to put that one home.
The TJ Maxx first half stats reflect the pretty wide open first half. Let's see what happens in half number 2. We'll be back to kick it off as Boston and New York set to begin the second 45 minutes. We'll be back for that right after this.
Ryan Miller owns a Hyundai Sonata.
We did a ton of research on the internet. Things that you normally would pay extra for came standard.
An exceptional list of standard features and room for 5.
Very stylish looking, very roomy on the inside.
The Sonata also comes with the Freedom of America's Best warranty.
We just felt for our money, the Sonata was the best value.
The Hyundai Sonata at just $15,999. It's a lot more car. Hyundai dealers, helping kids fight cancer.
Introducing McDonald's new grilled chicken flatbread sandwich. Hey, Stitch, get your own commercial.
Oh, okay.
Head to McDonald's and share in the magic and fun of Disney's newest full-length animated feature film, Lilo and Stitch. And pick up our cool new Surf Bobbler Happy Meal toys.
Oh, there's one in every family.
Coffee? No, thanks. I think I'll get my own.
Perhaps he's compelled by the sumptuous aroma. Maybe he desires the rich, delicious taste that he finds at home.
the taste of Gevalia Cafe. To experience the pleasure of Gevalia yourself, call 1-800-447-1127. We'll deliver 2 boxes of our fine European coffee for just $14.95 with a free coffee maker to ensure you brew and keep Gevalia at its finest. If you enjoy Gevalia, we'll send more whenever you like. Call 1-800-447-1127 today for your 2 boxes of Gevalia and free coffee maker. There's no further obligation. Gevalia Cafe. Always a pleasure to come home to.
This game is brought to you by Yellow Book USA. Every day more people are using Yellow Book, not the other book. AYSO, the American Youth Soccer Organization. AYSO, where everyone plays. By News 12 Networks. News 12, as local news gets. And by Dunkin' Donuts. 2 goals for Meinert Meinert in the first half. Let's see what the second half has in store. Tiffeny Milbrett scored for New York. As you see the rain starting to fall here in Boston as we kick to start the second half. Hucles, her pass went off the side, I believe, of Jen Lalor's face, and she's trying to gather herself center of the field.
Well, the scary thing about that for New York is Jen Lalor had a concussion just a few weeks ago and missed a game and a half.
She's definitely trying to just take a few deep breaths, and Tiffeny Milbrett wants play to be stopped momentarily, and she wants the training staff to come out and check her out.
Well, what I can tell you about this, as I look at New York's schedule here, she played in the last game. See it here, she gets hit and she gets hit hard. She played in the last game against San Jose. It was 3 games ago against Carolina. She went out early in the first half, missed the whole week of training, went in late in the game as a sub against Atlanta, and then played last week. So she is coming off of a fresh concussion.
Well, that's a great captain right there, as Tiffeny Milbrett walked her all the way over to the sideline. So you know her teammates are aware of the health record, and Tiffeny was very concerned right away. She was trying to get the referee, Carrie Seitz, to stop play. Seitz took note of it, waited for play to be stopped, and then gave Lalor a chance to head off the field. So New York will play a woman down here as Lalor tries to get her wits back about her. Fair, almost an own goal. It is an own goal. Unbelievable. What else can go wrong for New York? 4-2 Boston. Oh, Wynne McIntosh has to feel like she doesn't have a friend in the world right now.
We hate to see this happen. We talked about a bad goal a game. Ronnie Fair, who's out of position, clears the ball into her own teammate, Wynne McIntosh, off of Wynne McIntosh, and you can see her reaction and Gao Hong's reaction. Folks, that is a disappointing break for this New York Power team, especially you just had the opportunity in halftime to regroup. You're down a person, a misclear, and an own goal.
In fairness to Wynne McIntosh, as Milbrett tries to step up, there was nothing she could do. As Fair turned, there was no getting out of the way of that attempted clear by Ronnie Fair.
No, but you know what? If Gao Hong was in her goal a little bit further back, maybe she could have reacted. And Ronnie Fair had so much time to play that ball with composure rather than just clear at one time.
Well, let's see how New York responds to this. Trailing 4-2. This is now the high water mark as the water starts to fall from the sky for goals this year in a game for Boston. It took but a minute in the second half for us to get the 6th goal of this game. You saw that Jen Lalor has checked back into the game. Good to see her back out there. Number 13 back into the mix. Milbrett turns. Offside flag is up. Milbrett disagrees.
Well, last week for New York, a goal kick, a bad goal kick, went right to Brandi Chastain. Nicole Williams, the goalie, took it, and Brandi Chastain scored. This week, we see an own goal, and that's what New York is talking about, a bad goal a game.
They play on the far side. Meinert grabs it. Boston, the home team in their blue, New York in white. New York trailing 4-2, and now Boston with a chance. Pearce sweeps it back to Gao Hong. Oh, here's a poor clear right here as Mellgren tries to turn and settle it down. Gao Hong has played internationally for over a decade and one of the world's best ever, but when you haven't played in months and months, when you're coming back from an injury, sometimes it takes a while to work the rust out.
And clearly, she is not on top of her game right now. Miscommunications, bad plays like we just saw in that clear, and I don't think she's been sharp making decisions whether or not to stay at home or come off her line.
New York trying to answer back, trailing 4-2. Here's Rager. Meinert. Gonzalez steps up, battling against Milbrett. Here's Tiffeny. Rapp sending it out wide to a countrywoman, Linda Ormen. A little too wide, throw in Boston. Quickly thrown in by Boston. Gonzalez. Lilly touches it from Meinert. I think Christine wanted it back. Meinert trying to battle 1-on-2, hit hard.
That's not called.
And a foul.
You can take a look at this foul. First she cuts back away from Ormen, then Rapp steps in. She had her beat and Rapp clearly stuck out her leg. That's dangerous. Somewhat surprised that's not a yellow card.
McCann sending it out wide, Carrie Rager there, but Tammy Pearman knocks it down. Now Whalen. Pearman. Christie Pearce. Pearce for Whalen. Whalen thought about going upfield, now tries to find Janss, a goal scorer here tonight for New York. The Power trailing 4-2. Back for LeBlanc. Quinn LeBlanc will take her time. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the women's national team for the United States, April Heinrichs, who fixture at some of these WUSA games. And April, I know you come to watch these games scouting. I mean, you've got a friendly coming up against Norway coming up in July, and you always like to see how your players are doing and the opponent's players. But as a fan here today, give me your impression of 6 goals in a span of 46 minutes.
I'll tell you, it's been amazing. Last week, I think, was 7 goals, and I show up here, now we're at 6 goals, so I'm still thinking 2 more before the night's over. It's great to watch these players play.
Wiegmann finds Lilly, fixture for the national team, and she's been a little dangerous here tonight. Good to see her heading back into form here.
She has played well, and I think her second assist to that first goal was outstanding. So I'm pleased to see Christine playing well.
Maren Meinert down, grabbing her right leg, and we'll take a look at this while we talk to April here, and hopefully Maren's all right after 2 goals here tonight. Let's see if we can see the contact here as Meinert came in and she was challenged. There it is right there. So she's getting some attention, and she'll head off the field as we take one more look. 2 goals from Meinert here tonight.
You can see Wynne McIntosh, and Wynne McIntosh is a player that plays very physical back there, not as technical, but
and I'm sure
physical.
A little frustrated after that own goal tool, picking up her intensity. One more time.
Here's a look at it. You see Wynne comes in and tries to play the ball, but really plays Meinert's Achilles almost there, right, April?
Yeah. I think she's been watching the German national team play, the men.
Well, that's a perfect segue, because I know, as you know, the #1 fan of the men's team standing next to us, you were so pleased to see what Bruce Arena and the boys were able to do over in Korea and Japan.
It's been marvelous for all of us fans of soccer to watch our men play with spirit and cohesiveness, and to go after the Germans and the Portuguese and Mexico and all these teams. The way they played was truly amazing. Makes us
Anxious and hungry for 2003 to come up. And what's the latest for the national team as we gear up for World Cup 2003?
We'll play the Nike Cup in this September, this fall, and we'll also have our World Cup qualifying. So when the season ends, we'll start to gear up with the national team again. And it'll be great to have all our players together and start putting a focus on the World Cup in 2003.
April, not only do you get a good look in the WUSA at some of your own players, but it's also a tool to be able to scout against some of the international players that you're going to be seeing. I'm sure you're watching this game and glad to see that Mellgren and Meinert are from 2 different countries and don't get to team up internationally together.
Yes, no question. I mean, those 3 are outstanding.
Well, Mellgren is a dirty word around the U.S. women's national team, right?
So is Goldbrinson, to be honest. But again, these players, we think that having them in our league is helping them, but we also are getting a sense, watching them, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. And the players on their team know them very, very well and have the utmost respect for the foreigners in the league.
April, bringing it to this game as a coach, I know you also watch this game, you know, if possibly you were coaching out here, what do you see as some of the things that New York has to do to get back into this one?
Well, you know, I think that New York is struggling to possess the ball, and they've got some possession-oriented players on the field, but, you know, with Tiffeny up there by herself, it's difficult to get that connection between Tiffeny and the midfield. And if you have the ball, you can command the tempo, you can command the territorial advantage, and I think New York, unfortunately, has spent more time without the ball tonight.
Well, now they're trying here is Lalor back after stepping out for a few moments. Meinert back out there for Boston as well. Wiegmann took a hard hit, but she's up and running around for Boston.
And this is good possession they're starting to get now. And with this, you can command the game a little bit more.
There's Janss with a goal here tonight. Draws a crowd. Pearman back for Whalen. Whalen trying to find Rapp. Lalor goes after it. McCann, I think it was last touched by New York. It'll be a throw-in for Boston. Well, you have a friendly, and it's never friendly against Norway, but coming up in Minnesota in July, I'm assuming that's a full call-up, because when you play Norway, it's been heated battles, and I'd hate to say a friendly is a statement game, but Norway has had your number here the last couple of games, and you want to have the bragging rights a little bit here as you head towards World Cup 2003.
Yeah, you know, we will play them, and we'll bring up our top players and go after Norway with two different looks in July. And it's a great time. It is a friendly in the sense that it'll allow us to experiment in a way we might not otherwise. But you're right, they've got our number recently, and they're the Olympic champions, and we got to find ways to beat them.
Lalor sent it just wide. It'll be a goal kick for LeBlanc.
11, row 12, seat 9. You're one of gift certificate courtesy of Sullivan Tire.
LeBlanc boots it towards the middle of the field. Breakers fans, join the Sovereign Bank Ultimate Reading Book Club and learn how you can win really cool prizes just by reading a few books this summer. Stop by any participating Sovereign Bank location or visit the Breakers website for more details. Pearman sends it deep. LeBlanc backtracking. Kate Sobrero. McCann sweeps it away. Well, you're watching some players here, April, like Kate Sobrero, who's coming back from injury. What's your assessment of her? Is she back in the mix for you in many ways?
She is. Kate has always been one of our top defenders. She's strong. She's powerful. She's a good defender. She's organizing the defense better and better every year. And we have great confidence in Kate. And she's also been there and has been able to deal with the pressure at the next level.
Another player that's been in your mix that I think is a great young player, it was fun to watch her at UNC, is Jenna Flugel. We did see her get beat by Millie early on, but is that the position you see her in your mix?
It's hard to tell because she's still young enough that I think she can play several positions at the national team level. She can play centrally in the midfield, wide midfield, or as an outside back. And that's helping her grow right now, and these are the years for her to grow. At the end of the day, she's, you know, got 10 good years left in her legs, potentially.
Here's good legs here. Mellgren comes in, tries to chip it past Hong. She does. 2 for Mellgren. It's 5-2 Boston.
And April, I'll let you comment on this goal, but this is not the Hong that we're used to seeing. Somewhat tentative, making her decisions. You're also playing against a Davey Mellgren, who isn't going to make a mistake. She's going to play that just perfectly. Look first, we're going to see, is it offside? Is it not offside? She tests that line so well. Then you can comment from here on.
I don't think it's offsides, but Mellgren has a great sense that the goalkeeper has committed too early. She plays it on falling. Look, she is falling down when she decides to play this ball, and she just simply gets it up knowing that Gao is down early. It's a great goal by a world-class player.
Mellgren, so strong, she's so opportunistic and composed in the box, and yet Gao, fair to say, isn't the Gao that we know?
No, you know, there's a position that if you take a lot of time away from.
Here we go again. Mellgren coming in, using her speed, going for the hat trick. And Gao Hong there for the challenge that time, certainly being tested.
She is being tested, but you know, spending a lot of time away from the goal and then jumping into this level, you're going to get punished. But you know, these are a couple games will get her going, and then I think we'll see her back.
And I guess as a coach, you have to, you know, you're already down. You have to keep her in the fire for her to get through those jitters and get her timing back.
You do. She's not going to get her rhythm and her timing and her confidence back sitting on the bench. So I'm sure that this is an investment on the New York Power's side.
And Boston fans will be happy to know that whenever April's around, Dagny Mellgren tends to score. So it's good tonight, but not good in July.
Eric, don't be cursing me.
No,
I'm
just stating facts, but you just know how dangerous she is firsthand.
I know. I always yell when I see these foreign players miss chances in the league that they would never miss when they're playing the United
when
States
you're coaching
of America.
against them,
Makes
right?
me crazy.
Well, enjoy a few weeks of sanity before it starts up, and we're really looking forward to next year.
Thanks for having
April Heinrichs, the head coach of the U.S.
April,
Women's
thanks so
National
much
Team.
as always.
Thank you.
Best of luck here as they gear up this summer for what's to come next year and the Women's World Cup in 2003.
The thing that I find so interesting about April is everybody knows about April, the coach. And people think of the first players as the Mia Hamm and the Brandon Chastaids, but it was the April Heinrichs that was the first, the it player.
Meinert has two. Does she get three? She wanted to make the extra pass. Unselfish play as she tried to find Christine Doe.
Boy, in this game with so many chances that Boston is having, it's hard to even make a comment. It's unbelievable, chance after chance right now. New York really needs to reorganize defensively.
Well, the horse is out of the barn right now. 5-2, the own goal really seemed to break the spirit of the Powers. They went into the locker room down 3-2, but a minute into the second half, the own goal made it 4-2, and Mellgren scores again, and now Boston, it's like a shooting gallery right now as it's push after push here in the 61st minute.
Well done.
You get a second. Did you want to finish your thought on April? I know you're trying to say something nice, but
thing
we've got
with
about
her
30
is,
seconds here.
You know, everybody talks about Mia and Brandy, and you know, their idol and their role model was April. April was the first player, the first goal scorer that everybody could idolize. And I know Mia really watched April, and now April is coaching these players. So not only known as the coach, but she was also just a fabulous player in her own right.
And April does travel a lot to watch her players, and keep tabs a little bit on the Norwegians, those Chinese internationals. Now Lilly comes through. This play is onside. Can she settle it? She does, off the post. Meinert comes streaking in, plays not over yet. Mellgren tries the header. Gao with the save, and she'll hold on.
And that's the Gao we know. Her reaction was there. She read the play right, and she was in the perfect position. I wonder, was Christine Lilly offsides? How was she so free there? Here's a look at it. The ball is played by Wiegmann. Can't tell there if it's offsides, but Lilly is through, and she is all alone, being chased by Pearman off the post.
If you can hold on to the card also.
Then it's clear. It's crossed over by Meinert and Mellgren with the heads, but Gao Hong, good reaction, reads the play correctly, and comes up with a save. How did Lilly become so free, though?
Well, world-class players, sometimes that can happen. And the frustration is
that says it all.
Beyond evident as Christine hits the post, and she's had 2 goals in holding for the season.
But, you know, in my eyes, it doesn't matter whether or not Lilly scores, because Lilly means so much to this team. Her presence on the field, her tireless work ethic, and her work rate and her leadership. Goals don't matter.
Substitutions coming in now for New York. Krista Davey checks in, Linda Ormen sits down, and Emily Stauffer checks in for New York, and she's a familiar face around these parts. Was an All-American 3 times at Harvard.
And she's a great player. She's so technical in the midfield. She can really possess the ball and try to settle things down here in the midfield.
Sara Whalen trying to get something going. Hucles takes it away, finds Mellgren. 2 goals for Mellgren, 2 goals for Meinert, and an own goal. The 5 goals on the board for Boston as they lead 5-2 here. 64th minute at Nickerson Field in Boston. Jen Lalor checks out for New York As Stauffer with her first touch, she's in. Milbrett trying to feed it wide. Davey looking for Stauffer, comes all the way through. Rager fanned on the clear. Here's Whalen. That's knocked down and finally cleared out by Gonzalez.
And Davey brings great speed on the outside like we just saw. That's her game. Up the flank, and she's going to cross the ball.
Anita Rapp. Rapp still with it. Ronnie Fair. Fair sends it in. Offside flag is up. Emily Janss stepped forward. Again, Milbrett disagrees with that call.
The player that New York is missing right now is Sara Whalen. She's not playing the game that she's played the last couple games. She needs to be active. We need to see her. We need to be calling her name for New York to be successful. I know I sound like a broken record, but when she's on and when she's involved in the play and on the ball, good things happen.
Maren Meinert checks out. A terrific game for Meinert as Sara Yohe checks in. Meinert with 2 goals, and she assisted on Mellgren's goal in the 58th minute as well. So Meinert sits down here, 65 minutes gone by. It's an amazing stat. It just keeps going up. Boston has 19 goals this season after a season-high 5 here tonight. 14 of those 19 goals have come from Mellgren and Meinert. And those two were in business again here tonight on their home field. We bring you the Shield's MRI injury report. Ragnhild Gulbrandsen, she's up to probable. She was wearing shin guards tonight. She's trying to come back. Heather Aldama out of the lineup for Boston with a groin pull. For the first time this year in New York, at full fitness. They were short-handed, though, coming in with the absence of Minna Mustonen, who was with the Finnish national team. And as
Christie Walchel,
Ellen mentioned before, Walchel with the red card suspension.
And then Katie Tracy, a player we haven't talked about, who's seen a lot of action both in the midfield and defensively. She had a prior commitment this week and has made an honor in a wedding. Don't they know not to ask someone to be your maid of honor during soccer season?
Pearman sends it over to LeBlanc, who comes leaping out to pick it up in front of Milbrett. Well, it's been a quiet night for Corinna LeBlanc. 2 goals for New York, and we haven't had a chance to talk much about the Boston keeper. Jay Hoffman saying before the game that Tracy Ducar getting a little closer week by week. But right now it's LeBlanc's position. Her 1.55 goals against average, 6th in the league. Played every minute in goal for Boston this year.
And Tracy Ducar has been training at full strength for the last 2.5 weeks, so somewhat surprised not to see her getting some time here. You know, now would be a perfect time. You're up by so many goals to get her in a game and let her get a reaction and her timing back a little bit.
New York trying to battle in this one. Rapp loses it. Here's Wiegmann with a little space. Sends it to Lilly. Lilly sending it deep, trying to find Mellgren. Nothing doing on that ball. Although Sara Yohe comes streaking in and Gao Hong gets to play it. The Power have 2 more home games in the month of June. Wednesday, June 26th against the Carolina Courage, and Saturday, June 29th against Mia Hamm and the Washington Freedom. Call 1-866-POWER-TICKS and get your tickets today. Sobrero. Lilly. Yohe and Mellgren try to go to work. Mellgren sells it back for Lilly. Pearce couldn't handle it. Throw in for Boston. Most goals in a game this season for Boston. New York, you'll remember, against San Diego, gave up 6 in one game, and Yohe gave it a go for number 6 in this one. But Gao Hong is there.
And that was a good play by Gao Hong. Kind of a scramble there and a misdirect. Ball comes at her, but she holds her ground and comes up with it.
Wiegmann. Wiegmann trying to feed it through, but read by Ronnie Fair, who cleared it away, making her 32nd consecutive start in the 32nd game in New York Power history. She's been out there starting in every one.
Some as an outside back, and this year mostly in the midfield.
Now threading it through. Milbrett waits for it. Sobrero closes. Milbrett 1-on-3, tries to turn, tries to settle, makes the pass for Whalen. Whalen in the area, give it a go, and it's off Sobrero. Corner kick, New York.
Great speed there by Kate Sobrero. She did a great job coming back and defending Millie, who had sprung herself. Usually you see Millie straight to goal with that.
Sara Whalen. Get it started quickly. New York trailing by 3. Here it comes, headed away. Now back in the area. Pearman off target. Goal kick coming up for Boston. Wednesday night on Metro TV, the Power return home to battle the Carolina Courage. Live coverage gets underway at 7 p.m. That's the Power and Courage, Wednesday night on Metro TV. Courage picking up another win today, bouncing back after that loss to Philadelphia, 3-1 the final in Washington. Carolina, an excellent road team, undefeated in all 6 of their road games this year.
Boy, has Carolina turned things around.
6 wins all of last year. Today was their 6th win of the season for 2002. That'll give you an indication as they battle for the top spot. But Philadelphia has proven, as they did on Wednesday night, they are the tops in the league right now.
But it really shows how a few players can really make a difference.
Lilly, Gonzalez. Now Wiegmann comes up to pick it up. Wiegmann, he's done that 360 move a couple times here tonight. Here's Rager.
I know, and you know, Eric, you look at the makeup of these two teams, and you look at the international players for Boston, they're so dominant, they are all-stars out here. Then you look at the international players for New York, and you somewhat have to look for them. They have not been dominant tonight.
Well done, yo!
Pearman turns. Lilly thought maybe she had an opportunity, but McIntosh swept it back. Now Rager. Gonzalez touched it forward. Pearman comes after it. Low driving ball. Rager can't stop it. Milbrett touches for Whalen, who settles. Whalen tries to chip it forward. Sobrero and Milbrett challenge. Headed back, picked up by McCann. Gonzalez. Milbrett with a goal here tonight. Just one, though. This play's onside. Mellgren gives chase. Yowie, center of the field, running after it. Here it is, into the middle, bounce to Lilly. Lilly has a chance! Wide.
And Lilly made that whole play start. What a beautiful ball in the midfield. She played out to Mellgren. Here's a look at it. It started all the way up the field. She wins the ball there. Right away, she collects and then feeds just a perfectly placed ball to Mellgren. Mellgren is onside. She utilizes her speed. Looks up, sees she's coming back in, looks for the cross, and it's deflected off of a defender for New York. Lilly does a great job just collecting the top of the box, but can't finish.
She's been active tonight. She's been dangerous. She's had 3 good scoring opportunities, hit a post, and came close a couple other times. Unable to score.
And it has to be somewhat frustrating when you haven't scored in a while and you have gotten chances not to finish. It has to be frustrating.
Anita Rapp heads it over the line, throw in for Boston.
Especially when your team scored 5 goals.
Taking a look at elsewhere in the WUSA today, we talked about the Carolina victory, cooling off Washington with Mia Hamm back in the lineup. They've been red hot. In Atlanta, they saw their 4-game winning streak stopped by Carolina last weekend. Charmaine Hooper back in the lineup. They lead San Jose. San Jose, another team coming on. The defending champions, 3 wins and a tie in their last 4 matches, but down a goal at Herndon Stadium.
And Washington's playing good ball as well. They didn't win, but I bet that was a good game. 3-1. New York has to play both those teams next week.
Look at Yowie showing some speed into the area and right at Galhan.
And that's what Yowie had at Florida, speed. That's her biggest attribute. She's fast. She gets in the mix. She loves to get forward.
7th appearance for the Breakers. Looking for her first goal. She was with Carolina limited time a year ago and getting a chance here. Get a little bit more time with Boston this year.
But won an NCAA title at Florida as a new program, only in their 4th year, with Carolina ex-teammate Danielle Katopoulos.
New York sets up for the throw, down 3. Boston bringing lots of pressure here, up by 3 goals, looking for some more. 5-2 Boston. It was a 3-2 lead for Boston at halftime, but an own goal in the second minute of the second half really turned the tide fully in the Breakers' favor. They led 4-2, and Dagny Mellgren got her second of the night. And for Mellgren, now 8 goals on the season to make it 5-2. Now a corner kick for the Breakers, 75th minute. Wiegmann delivers far post, looking for Gonzalez. Very active in the first half of this game.
Yeah, we haven't called her name as much in the second half. She's been a good addition. Her height in there and her aggressiveness in the box, I think, really is a good addition for this Boston team.
Hucles making a move, deflected, and corner kick coming up for Boston.
You know, Gonzalez didn't play against New York the first time they met earlier this year.
8th game for Monica Gonzalez.
Started the first 4 games of the year when Kate was out, and then didn't see action for a while. And now has earned her way back in the lineup. And I think with her play tonight, we'll see her in the lineup some more.
Christine Lilly clears out a little space. Here comes the corner. 9th corner kick tonight for the Breakers. There's Gonzalez getting a head on it again. At least part of it. Yowie making a move.
Gonzalez is making us look brilliant here tonight.
I wouldn't go that far. Hucles sending it. Wiegmann with the volley, trying to settle it back for Mellgren. Tiffeny Milbrett got the first hat trick in the league this season last week against San Jose, and Mellgren hanging around trying to get the second hat trick of the season. With Milbrett on this field. Wiegmann. Yowie tries to settle. Yowie heads it, stopped by Gauhong. Gao, 77th minute. Kate Sobrero. Sara Whalen. Whalen challenged by Hucles. Hucles wins that challenge. Boston has not taken a passive approach here since taking a 3-goal lead. They've been aggressive with the defense.
I think that's a good move, too, because you don't want to lose your shape. You don't want to lose your momentum. They said today has to be a turning point, so you want to make sure you do what is working and stay in that style. And that's exactly what they've done, and it's working for them. So many times we see people go into a defensive shell, then they get scored on.
Gonzalez. Yowie makes a move. Top of the area looking for Gonzalez, who goes flying in. And she knocked, I believe, McIntosh down. Yep, that's who it is. Nothing was called.
Wynne wants to know where that call is.
Throw in for Boston. 78th minute. Lilly giving chase. Sets it up. Mellgren there. Gauhong came out. Gonzalez gives it a go. Kick it right into Anita Rapp.
Great defensive play there by Ronnie Fair.
Mellgren. Gonzalez. That was broken up by Stauffer. And now Whalen tries to come back the other way. Rager gave her a push. Foul is called. Now Rapp.
Take a look at this save. What a great defensive play there by Ronnie Fair. That would have been in the back of the net by Mellgren, but she played her just perfectly.
Rapp. To Lilly. Lilly. Knocked away by Pearce. But to Gonzalez. Has Rager with a lot of space here. New York getting caught up field momentarily as Carrie Rager tries to make the move wide. Rager sends it far post. Wiegmann comes streaking in, challenged by Rapp. And over the far touchline, throw incoming for New York. Gonna have a pair of substitutions now as Allie Kemp gets set to check in for the Breakers. And Rachel Hoffman set to enter for New York.
Now you can see what New York's going to do here. They're going to go more into offensive mode here by putting Rachel up front.
Rachel Hoffman, big target out of Penn State. Dagny Mellgren sits down after a 2-goal night and some hard work and close to getting the hat trick. Mellgren and Meinert both on the bench with a 3-goal lead.
That has to be somewhat of a relief for those New York defenders. She's been hard to contain tonight.
Guys, Cappy, turn!
Allie Kemp. Kemp for Yowie. Knocked away by New York. Hucles comes up.
You can see what New York did when they took a defender out in Pearce. They went to a 3-back and tried to figure out a way where they can create some offense here by putting Rachel Hoffman up front.
Throw in for Boston.
Davey, you may have to have one of those 2 holes.
Allie Kemp there to take it.
They may have an extra one. That's how they play the 3 or 4 up front.
Here's Lilly. Turning. Stopping. Tried to make the pass left-footed, but was denied. Now Klugel tries to get it. Milbrett comes flying in. You know she will not quit in this game. 5-2 the deficit, but Milbrett will keep going as long as she's in there. A lot to get to on the Sovereign Bank scoring summary. Well, so much, we need 2 pages to do it. Here's the first 4 goals, and then the next 3 goals includes an own goal. Janss scoring for New York, 39th minute. Made it a 3-2 game, and that was the score at halftime, but then Mellgren helped to put it away in the 58th minute.
And it was that own goal that I think really took the wind out of the sails for this New York team.
Whalen settles. Rager. Kemp is bumped. Throw in coming for Boston. Well, obviously it's been a tough road for the Power. Their 2 wins this year coming against San Diego and Washington. You think back to a year ago at this time. After 10 games, they had 5 wins, 1 loss, 4 ties on their way to the playoffs. And this year hasn't been the same. Janss centering it. Sobrero came back to Janss. Last touch by McCann. Bouncing around. Here comes Milbrett. LeBlanc recognizes and gobbles it up.
Psychologically for Boston, this has to be a big win, not just because of the win, but because of all the goals they've been able to score. And we talked earlier about how that's been the struggle for them there.
New York trying to come back the other way. Stauffer, the Harvard alum, giving chase. Boston comes back and tries to counter, trying to kill time here with 10 minutes to play, plus any stoppage. Now Kemp with great speed. Heads into the area with a step. Sends it back for Yowie.
It's so surprising to me. I watched that whole play develop that Kemp was not offsides there. Boston does a tremendous job teaching their front runners to really test that offsides line and then utilize their speed. We see the speed in Mellgren. We see the speed in Kemp that's come on from Mellgren.
Now Kemp with terrific speed. Sometimes it's hard to keep that flag down when Mellgren and Kemp go on runs. Sobrero giving chase. Back for LeBlanc. Tough clearance. Out of play. Throw in coming up for New York. Well, for Boston, they played the fewest home games in the league. 7 of the 11 games played before this game were on the road, and they were 1-5-1 in those 7 games. So they have a lot of home games left ahead for them. A lot of ground to cover in the standings, but just look at what Washington did. They go unbeaten in 4 games, and right like that, they're back into the playoff mix.
That's a neat thing with an 8-team league and 3 points for a win. You can really find yourself right back in the playoff run. But for New York, time is running out.
Stauffer won't get there. Well, Pat Farmer before the game said he's added it up, and it would need to take about 24 points out of the 33 points available in the final 11 games for New York to, quote, even have a chance to have a sniff at the playoffs. So heading into this game, you're looking at winning 8 of 11. Barring a miracle comeback, now you're looking at winning 8 of your last 10. So the challenge is definitely there.
The challenge is there, but they can do it. When New York is on, we saw them play good ball in the first half, but they've played great ball this year. They just haven't been able to be consistent. They get Welchel back, they get Mina Mustonen back, and if they can get Gao Hong playing 100%, they can win 8 of their next 10.
LeBlanc will boot it away with Milbrett hanging around.
You know, we heard Jay Hoffman say the parity in the league, and that's what makes this league so great. They've really done a good job of spreading the wealth, and on any given night, any team can beat any team.
New York down 3. Hucles sweeps it away. She claims it was last touch by New York, but it'll be a throw-in for the Power.
And Rachel Hoffman, what she brings, not only is size as a target player, but she has a tremendous throw-in. This is dangerous. She could throw it right into the box.
Here she comes. Into the 6-yard box. And here comes LeBlanc to grab it. The New York Power Hyundai Hero of the Game is brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Hyundai dealers, who are proud to donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund in honor of Tiffeny Milbrett, tonight's New York Power Hyundai Hero of the Game. Hat trick last week, a goal and an assist, so she accounts in both goals for New York in this match here tonight. Yowie tries to cross it.
I made a comment to another player in the WUSA who's a national team player, and I'll let her remain anonymous. And I said, I feel bad for Millie. I can see she's frustrated. And she said, don't feel bad for Millie. She's the best player in the world. And everybody says that about her. She's so dynamic. It may not be winning, but she is still scoring goals.
Wiegmann. Can Boston still score goals? A little too hard on that touch, but Kemp with that speed gets to it. Kemp sends it back. Yowie knocked down by Pearman. Close to a handball. Gonzalez gives it a go. Now Wiegmann turns and sends it wide. Goal kick coming up for New York. Looking for a cool way to celebrate a birthday? How about a Breakers Birthday Bash? The Boston Breakers birthday ticket package includes a Boston Breakers t-shirt, a special birthday card autographed by the players, bumper stickers, tattoos, and meal tickets for each member of the party. Call 1-866-GO-BREAKERS for more information on the Breakers Birthday Bash. Janss with a goal here tonight, set up by a hard cross by Milbrett that was knocked down by LeBlanc, but she couldn't handle the rebound on such a hard centering pass by Tiffeny. Milbrett scored in the 15th minute for 8 of the season. But it's not going to be enough here tonight. Here's Wiegmann. Wiegmann sends it out wide, but it's not going to get to Lilly. You know, I think Boston's trying to find Christine Lilly. She hasn't scored since early May, and she's had a couple of opportunities tonight, hit a post here tonight, and she's been running hard all game long, and it looks like it may not be in the cards for the captain here tonight. McIntosh. McCann backpedaling, heads it back. Sobrero comes up. Well, one of the game keys for the Breakers was to deny service to Milbrett, and even though she got to some balls, and whenever she was around the ball, she was very dangerous. You know, letting her off with just a goal and an assist in this game and 2 goals on the board, you've got to feel like you accomplished something if you're Boston. And of course, the best defense is holding the ball, as Boston has done here in this game here tonight.
Well, I think Jay Hoffman was right on with his assessment in not marking her and not taking yourself out of your own form, because he didn't feel like they played well the last time they played them and they were lucky to win. This time they played their own style game, tried to contain Millie at the best of their capability, and they did, and they were able to get forward in this kind of shape and be successful.
Here's Millie. Rachel Hoffman giving chase. McCann goes back, tries to turn. Sends it back. Hucles coming back. Ball still in play. Finally knocked out of play, and it's a throw-in for Boston.
Great sound effects. You hear that? Sounds worse than it was.
So that's the sound of Tiffeny Milbrett challenging the ball deep in the corner here in the final moments of this match. Well, the shots have been there for Boston. They outshot Philadelphia and lost. They
Outshot Carolina.
Outshot Washington 24-6 and ended up with a scoreless tie. Sari Mullins had something to do with that with 13 saves, but they've had some opportunities. They just haven't had the finishing ability. Well, that finishing touch has been there tonight with 4 goals and 1 own goal, accounting for the 5 tonight.
And I mentioned Carolina. It was 2 ties against Carolina, but I think they outshot them both times. Finishing, finishing, finishing. I'm sure Coach Hoffman is hoping they didn't use up too many of their goals here tonight.
Ooh, good hustle and challenge there by Gonzalez, but nothing doing as working hard to the final moments. Krista Davey on the far side. But New York is going to come up short in this one. Hucles to throw it. Final minute, and then we'll have some stoppage time added. Another throw in coming up for the Breakers. Well, coming up next for these two teams, Carolina, Wednesday night at New York.
Doesn't get any
so
easier.
It gets tougher, actually.
We need to find your head, maybe.
And then Saturday afternoon, the Breakers back here at Nickerson Field to take on San Jose. So we'll see if Boston is for real, if they can keep this going as they take on a tough San Jose team. 3 minutes being added to this one. Milbrett reads it through. Hoffman hesitated, a little stutter step there. Stauffer tries to deliver.
Great read there by Hucles.
Flag is up. And a player is down. Christie McCann, I believe. So while they check her out, we'll tell you that the Boston Breakers Hyundai Hero of the Game is brought to you by your Eastern New England Hyundai dealers, who are proud to donate $1,000 to the Special Olympics of Massachusetts in honor of Mellgren Meinert, tonight's Hyundai Hero of the Game. And she was a player from the get-go tonight. I mean, she was all over the place.
It must have been, she was inspired by that win by her fellow countrymen yesterday over the USA.
Well, at Team USA's expense and to the Breakers' benefit, it's worked out because she had 2 goals here tonight. Now Milbrett looking for her second of the night. Sends it just over the top.
Dangerous play. She makes nothing out of something. That might not be grammatically correct, but that is what Tiffeny Milbrett can do.
Or something out of nothing. It definitely was incorrect when you talk about Millie, yeah.
She does it all. She's unbelievable. I mean, a routine play, she gets the ball and makes it dangerous.
Well, it's been nothing but great stuff from Milbrett for 2 years running now. I mean, she's always had the ability, but to be considered, dare I say, the best striker in the world at the moment. I mean, she's playing some terrific soccer, keeps it going tonight. Their 8th goal of the season, coming up a hat trick last week. The MVP of this league a year ago with 16 goals.
And when you're scoring on a team that's not winning, that says a lot as well.
Rager heads it away. It's going to be a corner kick for New York. We're in stoppage time. It's a 3-goal lead for Boston.
You can see her fierce competitiveness. Doesn't matter how far they're down or how many seconds are left in the game. She plays to the end.
She wants this corner. Here it comes. Trying to curve it. LeBlanc is there to pick it up in front of Tammy Pearman.
And that's one place they miss Mina Mustinen, her header. She can get in there with her height at 5'10", almost 6 feet.
Of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage.